Sandra wants to secure an encryption key. Which location would be the most difficult to protect if the key was kept and used in that location? Most difficult to protect if that encryption key was kept and used at that location. Another difficult question. What do we think? Go ahead, Thomas.
I'm thinking in memory, because if it's in, well, is in memory in use?
I would think in memory would be in use, yeah, or keeping it live in memory somewhere, like loading it into memory and then using it there.
That's the most unprotected. Well, you also got on a public network too.
Yeah, I'm between C and D, because disk, I would assume you'd be able to remove it, which would give it some sort of protection, because not everybody would be having access to the disk.
I mean, but it could be on a public network, and it could still be protected.
Correct.
True.
I would say, I think C may be the answer.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards C.
In memory, I feel like that makes sense, because usually it's live, and when it's, I guess, in transition, that's more of the hardest thing to protect versus at rest, or
Right.
So we're thinking C. All right, let's see what we got. Correct. Good job, guys. Most difficult location to secure for encryption keys and similar highly sensitive information is in active memory, because the data needs to be decrypted to be used. Okay. All right. CISSP company operates in the European Union and has been contracted to handle the data for a third party. What role is his company operating in when it uses this process to classify and handle data? So what role is Chris's company operating in the European Union when they've been contracted to handle data for a third party? Custodian's the first thing that comes to my mind, but I don't see it.
Yeah, so it will be processor. Data processor.
yeah, I would say processors too.
Okay, let's try it. Yes, good job, guys. All right. What is the best method to sanitize a solid state drive, an SSD? My gut says physical destruction.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, that's usually the best choice.
Okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
Physical destruction. Right. Okay, a software development team is implementing a new application that will store sensitive customer data. The team wants to ensure that data at rest is protected from unauthorized access. Which of the following cryptographic mechanisms would achieve this goal? We got to know our cryptographic keys for this one. I would be actually just taking a guess, but maybe process of elimination. Go ahead, anybody? I'm sorry, sometimes I don't have the tab for the screen open, so if you have your hand open, a hand up, I might not see it that quick. Jump in there, Thomas, what do you got?
Oh, okay. So SHA is a it's not for like protecting unauthorized, or it's just like a hash, you know, the SHA hash. It's just for modification. RSA is a digitally signing, so that's not unauthorized access. So I'm leaning between the A and B.
Between A and B. Okay. Anyone else have some input on that? We're between A and B. I'd still be taking a 50-50 shot at either.
Yeah,
And-
isn't ECB like lightweight and it has some security to it? That's what I kind of remember from my reading. Can't remember what B is about.
You got an A
But-
from Reg.
It's isn't it blockchain for B? They're both blockchains, right? No, it's blockchain for B. I think it's B.
One is electronic code book. That's the weakest.
Yeah, that's the weakest one. This is the strongest one right here. The
Yeah.
CBC,
Cipher block chaining is more strong.
right, for blockchain.
Okay.
What do we think? What's the consensus? A or B?
Let me see software development team members.
B.
Your Bravo.
Bravo.
Yes.
Fire,
Oh wait,
fire.
wait. Now it
Oh.
says which of the following cryptogram would best achieve. So the best one to achieve this goal. I go with B.
We think B. All right. Fire. A.
Good.
All right. Let's complete the quiz. 100%. Good job. Let's do another quiz. Let's do 10. All right. Which of the following would normally be considered a supply chain risk? I would say A. That's where my gut goes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right. Go on A. Good job. So a supply chain risk occurs when the adversary is interfering with the delivery of goods or services from a supplier to the customer. Right. Oh, we're getting repeats. You gotta think of that. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, the last question gave this question away. Right, supply chain hack. Right, Fred wants to classify organizations' data using common labels, private, sensitive, public, and proprietary. Which of the following should he apply to his highest classification level based on common industry practices? I don't know if private or proprietary is higher. Let's see what we got in the chat. We got a D from Reg. Or was that a hand? Sorry, guys. The vote for D, public. That may have been from the last question, Reg. Sorry if I'm. Nope. Thomas, we got a D, public. Which of the following should he apply to his highest classification level based on common industry practices? Highest classification level of his organization's data. We think.
So this is in the civilian sector, you know, the different classifications. So public is the lowest.
Yes,
Right.
public is lowest.
So
I'm
then,
thinking
okay, go ahead.
because that would be what they would need if they were looking for a what's it, trade secret, or like COTS and whatnot. I'm just guessing. I can't remember which is the highest for.
Mhm. Yeah, nor do I. So we know it's not public, or we feel like it's not public.
Yes, it's not public.
Proprietary. How do we feel about proprietary? Is that
I'm voting for proprietary.
me
Yeah, that's
too?
what I'm leaning more on proprietary there.
I'm leaning more on private.
On private, okay. Yeah, see, I don't understand the difference between private and proprietary really in this context.
Well, at least from a general understanding, the proprietary means that it's like specific to someone's, like Cisco owns CCNA, like that's proprietary versus like CompTIA's general understanding of like multiple, I guess, industry standards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that helps.
And that's the way that I'm looking at it too. Proprietary will take would have more sensitivity, because that is what will stand in court, legal. So this is our stuff, and no one is supposed to touch it. Private, I'm looking at maybe their customer data between private and sensitive. And of course,
I think of private, sensitive, and public. I think of like federalized government type of stuff. So I don't know anything specifically in this question that says it's federal based. So
no,
maybe
it's
it
not.
is.
Federal and public, I do remember, do share. So in federal, confidential is their bottom, and in according to OSG, that confidential is the highest for the private sector. So, but having the question the way it's listed isn't respecting the hierarchy that's OSG listed. So, but I'm voting for proprietary. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
So we'll
I'm
lean
voting
with
for proprietary too, because I know that confidential information in the government side can, it's like proprietary for that there.
Okay,
I'm leaning
let's
on
see.
that.
In this question,
Right.
it means trade secret is a trade secret, so they want to share with another person.
We all like proprietary? All right. Good job, team. So proprietary or confidential, the most sensitive. Private data is internal.
So it helps. As I was saying, I try tying the information when I'm trying to retain information in my brain. I try latching it onto something. So when comparing the government sector to the private sector, I looked at what OSG listed. The bottom on the government side was confidential, and I noticed, so like if you drew a diagonal line, that was the top one for private. And as you can see here, so it's another name for it is confidential. So one
Yeah,
needs
that
to,
helps.
so bottom for government is top for private.
That is helpful. Fred, you got your hand up? Jump on in, sir.
Yeah, I was saying they changed that. It used to be confidential. They changed it proprietary. So that's why I knew it was proprietary because it was changed. But it was originally confidential.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good. Questions are up to date. That makes me happy. All right, moving on. Which of the following information security risks to data at rest would result in the greatest reputational impact on an organization? Get some good ones tonight. So we're looking for an information security risk to data at rest. Thank you for that, Jeff. Would have the
So that would be insider threats and intentional insider threats.
Yep, I like it. How's everyone else feel? All right. We're gonna,
An intentional insider threat. Yeah, I guess that would have a greatest. That would be an impact, but I don't know if it's going to be more than an actual data breach or decryption.
reputational too.
I'm talking about improper classification. That falls on the company. The company is difficult to control an intentional insider threat. So maybe the reputation wouldn't be impacted that much, but yeah, it's a tough one. I see a couple
Yeah,
of these.
this is hard, but I think the emphasis has to be on security risks, information security risks. Maybe to help us. Information.
Go ahead.
And it
I
says
think-
data at rest. So
Yeah.
data at rest. I'm torn between B and C.
I'm torn too.
Because data at rest, you would need to decrypt it, right? Because usually encryption would give it some form of protection. So would decryption be the greatest reputational risk when that's used to debate?
Victor, we got a hand up. Go ahead, Victor.
I believe that if the data is not properly classified, you won't be able to adapt the right security controls in order to protect the data. Even if the data is in transit or in use, you need to be able to properly classify the data so that way you can apply the security controls.
Okay.
Yeah, both with Victor on that, because the lack of classification or poor classification would affect the protection applied, and in affecting the protection applied, it would also so a disgruntled employee would have easier access if it's not well taken care of. Decryption, so it may not even be encrypted to begin with if it's not properly classified. That one I think holds more weight. A.
Tight.
Now, looking at it, the question says maybe we should let's just dwell on the question. Let's make the question our universe, just like Claudia we always say. Now, the question is saying that the greatest reputational impact on an organization. Now, looking at in all the options, the greatest of all the options, that's what we should consider. And I said an intentional insider threat, but looking at it, an insider threat could easily be detected or cover up at the end of the day. Or a data breach is something that could go, could go public. So that's will affect the reputation of the organization. So I'm leaning towards B.
Data breach.
Yeah, because I know when a data breach happens, the reputation is impacted too by that organization. For example, Target, gets hacked or something, and a data breach occurs, and their reputation goes down.
Okay.
Looking at it now, I think Taye has a point. So A, aside from B, the others can be hush-hushed, but data breach is the one that will go public.
And I
True.
would say, the data breach is something that you have to notify your
Mhm.
users that a
Now
breach
that you
occurred.
think about it, that would
Yeah.
ruin their reputation. Like with Experian, like that really hurt their reputation with that data breach. So
Does anybody
maybe-
want to defend something other than data breach? I like it too.
I know we are focusing on the question, and that's the way we should really approach this. But also, which of these answers would embark the others? That was one strategy too that I learned. And I feel like you will have a data breach if you're not properly classifying the data. When we're doing VIA, business impact analysis, the first thing that we do is we need to evaluate the value of the data. So that way we can assign the proper security and controls, like which are the critical functions, and things like that. So
Thank you for that, Victor. I really like that. Kind of which of the answers might negate the other ones or precede the other ones is a really helpful way to think about some of the possible answers. So we got improper classification and data breach. Both have reasonable explanations. I think the majority was on data breach, so I'm going to select that. But Victor, thank you for your explanation of A. And it was data breach. Okay.
good job, guys. You didn't let me persuade you.
but
I like it anyway that you stood your ground, but I changed my mind because of what Taya brought to the fore. The others can be covered up, and reputation is a public thing.
yeah, that really turned on
that
the
was
light bulb. I thought about data
Mhm.
breach. Initially, I
Mhm.
would have put A for sure if I didn't take enough time to look at the question and wanted to just rush through it. A would have been my initial answer.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tay. That really does make a lot of sense. Okay. Oh, it's data. Which of the following concerns should not be part of the decision when classifying data? Oh, I think this is my gut. Let me read the rest.
Is the cost.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Why is declassification rarely chosen as an option for media reuse?
It's more expensive.
Okay. And may still fail. It's a good reason. Anybody feel differently? We got a C from Victor. Yeah. I'm feeling good about that too.
Well, when you say, okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, got it. No, it's good.
Okay, let's look at the explanation here. Ensuring that data cannot be recovered is difficult. Right. Okay. Slow down on this one a little bit. What issue is common to spare sectors and bad sectors on hard drives, as well as over-provisioned space on modern solid-state drives?
kind of leaning on C.
Yeah, same here, C or D.
Agreed. C or D.
How are we getting there? So I got to know what a spare sector or a bad sector on a hard drive is, and what over provisioning might be.
I'm leaning on A.
Oh, we got some variation here. So I heard an A, I see two Ds and a C. C seems plausible. Hmm. All right, we got Reg changing to a D. I got a C from Taye. Sunday, got a D. I don't know, guys. We got a lot of variation here. I don't know much about these concepts. I'm not hearing much from the team.
Let's just have a discussion. Let's find out why people are selecting different
I would
answers.
say one thing is, I'm sorry about that. One thing I'd say is it says common to spare sectors and bad sectors on the hard drive. So I guess what's common is that's what I'm looking at. I went to A first because you can't hide data on spare sectors, but because it says it's common, you can actually erase data, make everything zeros, and but if you don't completely format it, it still can be data on those drives. So, and like when you do a DoD erase, you normally do like 3 swipes to make sure all the data is gone, because you still can have remnants of that data.
Yeah, I went over to look up. So in my head, sometimes I can't quite explain stuff, but just a hunch. So I went to look up addressability. It says is the ability to access any specific sector directly using its unique address, allowing for random access to data. So to apply that to how I was thinking about it is there's a key word in that question, the over provisioning. So if the partitioning is poorly done, you might have data spread all over the place. I remember that, and I might be confusing things, but I remember as a DBA, us having to shrink data because it was spread all over the place. And that's where I'm leaning towards, having to do reindexing and shrink data because it was just spread all over the place before we could go to the sysadmin folks and ask for extra space.
Okay. So which answer did that lead you to?
I was choosing the one with addressable. Hold on, let me see my screen.
See, they are not addressable, resulting in data remnants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
you spread all the place and you can't quite access it because you're pointing your query or your system to a particular section, then that data, if you go to do a wipe, you might be focused on one area and miss the data on this other area. That's how my brain is processing it. But then again, we'll find out when we check the answer.
Does anybody else? Go ahead, please.
So
What
I
was that?
believe I read somewhere that clear is the worst way to sanitize drive. I read that somewhere, and then something that's one of the guys brought up was if you look at the question, what issue is common to spare sectors and bad sectors? So what is the common denominator that applies to both? And if you clear data, you're still gonna have some data remnants. So that's why I changed my answer to D.
See some thumbs up flying for D. We also had a good explanation for C. I did see more C's, so we're going to go C, but we will see the correct answer. So D.
Yeah.
Oh
Can
no.
I say something?
So I think C was the wrong answer because I don't think bad sectors are addressable.
Yeah. So
Okay, so,
let's say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, so what happened is all of those three spaces, the bad one, which of course is the damaged space, the space sector is where what you use when there's a bad space, a bad sector to replace the bad one. All of those three sectors that were listed in the question, the one thing common with them is they can actually hide data, but that is not the answer to the question. The question was saying a problem that they can hide data was not a problem that the question was saying, but they can hide data in that when data is in that sector and you do clearing, those data will remain. They will not be able to clear off because they've been hidden there. So that's why D was correct. The common thing with them is that they can hide data in those sectors, but the effect of that hiding is those data will not be able to be cleared from the hard drive when you try to do clearing. So that leads to the remnants that the question was asking about. That's why D was the answer.
I did go on GP chat and say you cannot over provision or reserve space on the SSD drives.
Thank you, Big. That makes much more sense.
Yeah.
When the date that my experience comes from predates SSDs. So that's when, the sysadmins were the hard drives, really. So
Yeah, the spindle drives.
yeah, so
Yeah.
the situation that I was borrowing from to explain my stuff was on hard drives, not SSDs. So that probably has an effect on what the answer ended up being.
Yeah, that's helpful, Reg, clarification on that. All right, 70, not bad. See, what did we get wrong? Yeah, this one, this one. Okay, run through for some more. Let's see. Correct answer is all right, let's do some more. If you guys do get in here and play with this yourself, you can kind of go back over incorrect questions and get a little bit of a deeper explanation. Let's do another year. We got 15 minutes. Let's do 5. Let's see if we got some different hard ones. We did this. I'll fix this before next group. Okay. A multinational corporation is implementing an access control model to restrict user permissions based on their roles and responsibilities. The model needs to ensure that users can only access the resources to perform the job functions, which would be role-based access control. I think we'll probably get there. This looks good. Chris is responsible for workstations throughout his company and knows that some of the, oh, sorry about that, which, okay, we haven't seen this one. Fred's organization allows downgrading of systems for reuse after projects have been finished and the systems have been purged. What concern should Fred raise about the reuse of the systems from his top secret classified project for a future project classified as secret? That is a word salad. Okay, so they allow downgrading for reuse. So why should Fred be concerned?
Data remnants, maybe.
That's definitely part of it. Maybe.
A and C look good. So secret is definitely lower than top secret. And so there should be concern about data remnants. But here it's talking about resulting in a need to relabel. Relabeling, oh, that might be good. I'm trying to do Claudi's system, which is stick to this universe. So the concern is that we should relabel before reusing, if I'm reading A right.
Victor, I saw it.
So
I'm sorry.
With A, I'm sorry, are you finished, Rebecca?
Finish it up, Rebecca.
Kind of, yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's what I was saying for A. A looks good. However, C talks about what is happening in A. C is talking about the exposure, but what I don't like about C is saying as part of the sanitization, it's not as part of, but after the sanitization, C could still be there because they only did a purge. So
Right.
there will be data remnants because it's not a full sanitization that was done. So A still looks better than C. So I'm done now.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Okay. So, good point. Yeah. For me, when I saw top secret, I started thinking about military, a mandatory access. No, not mandatory. It's Mac where you need to label and
Yeah, mandatory access control. Yeah.
yeah, mandatory access control. So basically, we need to relabel the system. We need to declassify the data, like remove the data. So that's why I went with A. That's where my head started running into.
I like it. To relabel the system, maybe expose because of the sensation. My only because of the previous question we saw, I think there's potential that it could be B. Because we saw that question previously that said, like, it's one of the main concerns, but I could be muddying the waters. So we've got A, C, and my gut saying B. So A and C have actual, I'm so sorry, we have hands up. Lasande, you're first, and Thomas, you're after.
Yeah, so what is data commingling? That is a situation whereby data of one's classification is mixing with a lower classification. That is a problem. That's exactly what it is. Because when you're using, what do you call it? When you are using the system that used to hold top secrets and they happen to be data remnants, those data are going to mix with data for secrets. That is commingling. So that's a problem.
I agree. Thomas, what do you think?
So also, like, if you have top secret data and you try to bring it down to secret, well, yeah, it's currently a breach. You know what I mean? You don't take from top secret. It's supposed to be destroyed. But then it says resulting in just the need to relabel the system. You're not going to take top secret data, bring it down to secret, and relabel it just secret, because you have now you have top secret remnants on there, and that can be an incident.
Yeah, I would agree with that big time. So we can get rid of. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yes, I remember when data classification is ongoing and you have data of different classification, it's always the topmost that takes precedence. So even if there's commingling, at the end of the day, we can't bring it down to secret. It's still gonna be top. If top secret data exists there, and we add secret, it's still gonna be top secret. The top the one at the top of the hierarchy dictates the classification. I'm not sure of how that affects things, but the relabeling here, if you're gonna put secret, it's top secret.
Okay. Sandy, what do you think?
Don't forget that the question says the top secret data have been purged, supposedly purged. That means it's not supposed to be there anymore. Right?
I'm feeling C.
Yes,
personally.
it's not supposed to be there anymore. Anyway, I just think it's best. I mean, from what I think, we'll see the answer, but I think it was said to be purged. So that means those top secret data were not supposed to be in the system anymore, right? That's what it means. But now with data remnants, which can inadvertently happen, and now those data are now commingling with secret level data. That's where I think the problem is. Then there will be no need to relabel. I don't know. But
I like the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
looking at
the
it
purge
now,
was there. Those data from top secret were not meant to be in the system at this time, right? Because the SEP2 have been purged. So
Yeah.
basically, we'll be looking at it. We're looking at secret level data. That's what is supposed to be in the system. But if there's data remnants in the system that now lead to commingling, you can't. From what you said, from what you've explained, you can't call that secret. You have to leave it at top secrets, because inadvertently there's been spilling of top secret level data into a lower classification. So there will need to be, as far as if you even think about it at all, that is possible, you must, like you said, you must leave it at the highest level labeling. That means that data cannot be labeled secret. It's got to be top secret system because of the thought that there could be remnants after the purging. Because the only reason why you want to call it secret level data is because it's been purged, right? But what if there was a spill and the thing was, the data did not completely leave? That means there will be need to label and call that system at that point top secret, not secret, because of
Yeah.
that spilling that could have happened. Yeah.
It makes sense. Say, what are you
Yeah,
thinking?
also, do you think A can be a subset of C?
That's where I'm leaning.
Because looking at at the end of the day, the A means that the data will be exposed, and that's what C is talking about as well.
Well, I don't think the data can be exposed as part of the sanitation process. That statement is not an all true statement, because sanitation process
Because the
should not
essence of
really
sanitation
expose
is
data.
it's for the data not to be exposed in the first place.
It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be, so it's not an all true statement. If it happens, it's an accident. So that statement is too categorically true for it to be true.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick one answer and learn from it.
Okay, Alex, C. Are we all okay with C? Maybe exposed. I think we all have different opinions on it, but let's just see the answer. Oh, it was B. My gut was right.
Hey, my gosh. Let me read the explanation. Can you slide it down? Downgrading systems and media is rare due to the difficulty of ensuring that sanitation is complete. The need to completely wipe or destroy the media that systems use means the cost of reuse is often significant and may exceed the cost of purchasing a new system or media. The goal of purging is to ensure that no data remains, so commingling data should not be a concern, nor should the exposure of the data. Only staff with the proper clearance should handle the systems. Finally, a DLP system should flag data based on labels, not on the system. We should have thought as a manager, that's the problem.
Yeah, we treat a similar
The
question
key-
just before now.
Keyword.
I'm so
They should have been first. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was silly hard. That was unnecessarily complicated.
Oh my goodness, all that debate.
All right, so
My
we know the questions can be difficult. That's good.
their biggest concern would have been about how much is this going to cost us? Too much, and that should have been the answer.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Dang it.
implement something tonight, and you guys can always give me feedback, but I'm gonna put like a hint button or something so we can, and I'm gonna have it highlight keywords that we should pay attention to. I think that'd be helpful. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay. So Chris is responsible for workstations throughout his company and knows that some of the company's workstations are used to handle both proprietary information and highly sensitive trade secrets. Which option best describes what should happen at the end of life for workstations he's responsible for?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Please.
The last question.
Mm-hmm.
How I know we bandy about the think like a manager and all whatnot, but how would you look at that question and think you are the main task is to decipher difference in cost for whichever way you lean, reuse or purchase new? How would one look at that question and see that question rephrased as, I'm being asked to figure out what it will cost to go one route versus the other?
Do you mind bringing up the question again? That will help us.
I'm
Let's
looking
see.
for it. Yeah. What was it, Fred? Here we go. So they're downgrading. So what stuck out to me was, what concern should Fred raise? So he's just raising a concern about the reuse of systems. And from a business perspective, the cost of the sanitization process may exceed the cost of new equipment.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So if I were to go back to Pete Zerger's admonition, CISO priorities start with not start with, but cost is high up the thought train. We were looking at it from a technical perspective. So that's where we missed it.
And,
Okay.
and also purging, as it were, permanently delete data. I think I actually missed that part, that purging is a method that permanently delete data. If we put that into consideration, commingling won't have been an issue because it permanently would delete data. Purging here is one of the ways to permanently delete data. So, I mean, what you were just asking is what's the best answer? What's the best answer from all the options? And it looks like B, yeah?
Well, another thing is the question didn't state the role, Fred's role. What's Fred's role? Is he a manager? Is he a CISO? What's the role? Because that will actually help in answering the question better.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason we assumed that it was from a technical standpoint, where if it would have stated that in the question, then that is where we could have leaned in on the technical, but it didn't. So I guess we should have assumed he's the manager. If it cost $10,000 to sanitize this versus getting new ones was $5,000, that's too much in cost. And that's going to be the business mindset of where are we saving money? How are we building? How are we growing as a company? We need to save money to grow, to invest in other projects, to do other things.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to stop for the evening. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Throw me some thumbs up. Do we like this practice question stuff? Okay, it looks like this is good. All right. I'm going to use this moving forward on study groups. I'm going to just keep implementing the little things that'll make it better. And eventually we're going to have a freaking awesome app that I hope beats out Learn's app. So that is my personal goal. I appreciate everybody's support. If, like I said, if you cannot afford the $15.99 a month for the thing, just contact me and I will give you a coupon code to get in there, because I appreciate you guys and you're the only reason that this is even possible. So let me know how I can help and I'll do my best. Someone had a hand up. Was that accidental or was there another comment or question? Go ahead.
No, I have my hand up. So is it now available in can you show us how to download it and what we have to do? I mean, like, uploading the questions, if you could just, give us a quick orientation on it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to actually make a little walkthrough video and I'll replace this one. But the iOS app, I have to put the brakes on for a moment because it's just proving really difficult to actually get into the App Store. So I redeveloped it for the web. You can find the link to it right here. AI practice question app. I got to figure out naming and stuff too, but for now, that's what it's called. And it will bring you to this. It'll check for your subscription. I can show you guys the page that you'll see without the current subscription. Let me share that out in an incognito window. So you guys are going to see something that looks like this. You guys know me and you guys have seen me develop this, so it's a little more salesy, but it's for a really cold audience. I'm running advertising traffic at this. So yeah, some claims are a bit exaggerated, but we will get there. And I will replace those testimonials with all of your wonderful testimonials as soon as they come in. But yeah, that's it. That's how you access it. And like I said, if make extremely liberal pay arrangements if anybody is having trouble and would like to use it. Any other questions about that before we give everyone their evening back?
I have one question. To get the code, I send you an email.
Yeah, Reg. Reg, you know who's looking for you. What is your name in the school community?
Should be it's through my email address. I believe I have it set up in here. I'll post it in here.
Okay, drop it in here. Are you in the school community?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I wasn't sure if maybe someone just invited you to the call or something. Okay, cool. Reg, I'll shoot you a link for it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Vincent, can I have the code too, please?
Sure.
You have to fill out the form again, you said,
No,
right?
no. Just I have your email, but put it in the chat and I'll just copy and paste them so I don't forget.
Okay, all right.
And Reg. And then you guys have all been around and seen how we're doing this. It would be nice to schedule some folks if you're interested in leading a session like I do. If you want to pick up a night, I will for sure give you free access to the AI app. But just putting that out there. I'll put a sign up sheet up soon if anybody's interested in picking up a night. And I've got a couple of emails for you guys. Grab that.
I'm just curious, this is also available web-based or via Android and iOS?
Yep, yeah, it looks great on mobile, it looks great on the web. I need to remove the post about the iOS, which I'll do tonight because it's a little confusing, but the one that we looked at tonight and the one that there is a link to on the right-hand side is the production one that I will continue to update. And I will make it the only one available this evening, so there won't be any confusion. I'm sorry, I don't want to close this before. Okay, I got a screenshot. Folks, nice talking to you. I'll see you tomorrow night.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.